Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Nikki Kanakis bringing you your Wednesday edition of FSU weather. We are seeing a beautiful sunset over Doak. You can kind of see that sun peeking out through the clouds. It's creating some beautiful colors for everyone in town to see. It's 72 degrees here. As I said, there are some clouds in the sky and there's a little bit of a wind, so it's kind of making it feel maybe a little bit cooler. As I said, 72 degrees here, and as you move farther south, you're seeing near the coast 72 degrees in Apalachicola, and as you move further north, we have a 79 degrees in Donaldsville. Our radar right now is looking pretty clear. We have a couple of spots to our west, but Tallahassee very clear. No signs of rain in our area. And for tonight, we're seeing a major coast-to-coast winter storm affecting the northern U.S. and in contrast, higher than average temperatures in the southeast and some continued spring summer-like temperatures. All that and more tonight on FSU Weather.
Thanks, Nikki. That is right. We have a great show planned tonight here on FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Aaron, so we're here to kind of start you off here at the desk with our tonight's weather. So we're talking local weather here with that heat in place. That, in fact, the whole entire region here across the southeast has just been dealing with those really warm temperatures across the last several days or so. That'll probably continue into the next several days, into maybe even another week or so from now. So if you are a cold weather lover like I am, it's unfortunate, but we do have to deal with this here in Florida. But overall, we'll have to see how the weather changes as we come into the next coming months or so. But now we'll toss things over to the wall with Elizabeth to talk more about our local.
Thank you so much, Aaron. So yeah, taking another look at Doak Campbell Stadium right now, we're seeing that sunset, and those clouds are in the area, but nothing to be concerned about as far as severe weather goes. It is currently 72 degrees and winds coming out of the southeast at 11 miles per hour. And looking at the rest of the area, we're not seeing much happening on our radar right now. We're seeing a few little pop-ups here and there to our west, but nothing to be concerned about for our area right now. As far as our temperatures go, again, it is 72 in Tallahassee, sitting a little bit warmer up north. It's 79 in Donaldsonville and 78 in Valdosta, and then it is a little bit cooler down by our coast. It is good. It is 72 in Apalachicola as well. And for our temperature almanac, today our high was 80 degrees, which is not too far from our record high temperature not too long ago in 2018 of 83 degrees. It was about 10 degrees hotter than our normal average, as well as our low temperature was well above our average as well. Our dew points right now, we're sitting pretty wet for most of the region. It is 66 in Tallahassee, more wet down by the coast. It is going to be 71 there, and it is 60 in Donaldsonville, 63 in Thomasville, and 61 in Valdosta. For our future radar, the main thing that we are going to see are these clouds move in for the rest of the week, and by this time on Thursday, we're not going to be seeing any sort of rain, but we are going to be seeing those clouds move into the area. For the rest of the night, it's going to be 66 degrees under mostly cloudy skies, and our winds are going to be coming out of the south at 7 miles per hour. So it is a very good night to head out after a long Wednesday. For the rest of the area, we're sitting similar temperatures around the rest of the area, 68 in Bainbridge and 67 in Thomasville and Valdosta, 68 in Apalachicola, 66 in Carabel. So a very nice night all across the rest of the Big Bend. For your Thursday, it's going to be 82 degrees, quite warmer than today. Mostly cloudy skies, winds a little bit breezy, like as we saw today, south-southwest at 13 miles per hour. And for the rest of the Big Bend tomorrow, we're going to see warmer temperatures to our north and west, 84 in Bainbridge and Quincy, and a little bit cooler down by the coast. We're sitting at 74 in Carabel, 74 in Apalachicola. And for the rest of the week, we're going to see those temperatures warm up all the way to 85 during the weekend, and we'll see a slight cool off, but it doesn't look like we're getting much relief from that heat. Now it's hot here. How about for the rest of the state, Nikki?
Elizabeth, it is, as we said, been a pretty warm day here. Right now, we're experiencing 72 degrees in Tallahassee, but as you see, the farther south you go, it's pretty warm, 79 in Key West, Miami, and West Palm, but 82 in Orlando. The city is pretty warm there. Our current dew points is also pretty wet outside, 66 in Tallahassee, and in the 60s all around the state. Very wet day, but very typical for Florida. As you can see on our radar, Florida's pretty clear, but if you look a little bit over to our west in Louisiana and so forth, it has a couple of bands of rain over there. And as I said, as you zoom in, it is mostly clear. In our area, we have those clouds and maybe a couple spots towards our west, but nothing for us in Tallahassee to worry about. In the Res Lakefront Park right now, it is looking beautiful with that sunset going over the water. It is 74 degrees right now, so just a perfect day to be outside, maybe eat your lunch outside, your dinner outside, and hang out with your friends, maybe have a little picnic or something. It's a little breezy, but nothing that you can't handle. As we reach the middle of Florida, it is still pretty clear, maybe a few spots near Horseshoe Beach, but nothing to worry about, as I said before. And in Gainesville, we're experiencing another beautiful sunset over where the Gators are. It's 80 degrees, a little bit warmer there than it is here, but as you can see, beautiful sunny, not a single cloud in the sky. And as we reach the bottom of Florida, it is, as I said, very clear, not much going on in the rain department. So make sure you get outside, have a good time, enjoy this beautiful warm weather. It's finally starting to see those spring conditions, maybe even a little bit of summer, if you will, but it is another beautiful sunset over Miami, 79 degrees there. And for the next day or so, you can see maybe in Pensacola and around the Big Bend region, we might experience some rain, but as you head farther south, we're not seeing as much rain there. Tonight, although we are seeing, again, as I've been saying this whole entire segment, just beautiful, gorgeous temperatures. Make sure you're getting outside, enjoying that sunset, enjoying that nightlife. Maybe you find a restaurant that sees you outside. I think it's an absolutely amazing night to do that, as I have been saying. 66 degrees here, 75 down in Key West, but all around the state, it's basically in the 60s, so just make sure you're really soaking that in. And as we get into tomorrow's forecast, it's going to be another scorcher. As we can see, 88 degrees in Jacksonville, 82 degrees here, and 90 in Orlando, so that's going to be pretty warm. But let's take a little bit of a contrast. Aaron, I heard that there's some winter conditions happening.
Oh, certainly, and not 90 degrees like it shows in Orlando. That is certainly the scorcher here, even in Florida standards across February here. But we'll take things over a little bit. We'll switch gears here about our winter storm headlines. We do have a major coast-to-coast storm happening across the northern United States. So while we might be pretty warm here, we're talking about the actually opposite of that in the northern U.S. So blizzard conditions from anywhere from about Colorado, about the Four Corners over towards about New England or so are dealing with that snow and that ice impact, so watch out there. We do have the potential for multiple feet of snow over this multi-day storm event. It's actually a pretty large storm if you look at it on radar, which we'll show you in just a second. We also want to make sure we prepare everybody to hunker down and exercise winter weather safety. So if you don't have to go and travel outside, don't do so. It may not be such a good time. Traveling out there on the roadways, it's probably better if you just stay in, perhaps have some stir fry instead indoors here. So look at our current watches and warnings. It is spanning from actually almost California all the way over towards behind my head here towards New England with those winter storm alerts here. We have those winter storm advisories in the purple, those warnings in the pink and the orange. We have the blizzard warnings and the ice storm warnings. And actually, fun fact, LA County in California actually did issue a blizzard warning, which they haven't done in about 2 decades or so there for the upper levels of the mountains there in Southern California. For our current temperatures across much of the upper plains, we're sitting at -6 in Bismarck compared to 46 in Kansas City. I know it's pretty cold here, both these temperatures for Florida standards, but that's a pretty significant difference here in temperature and not in such a far distance here. And then 79 in Dallas. So you can clearly tell where that ridge is here across the southern U.S. there, and then that trough digging into the north here where we have that cold Arctic air that's going to eventually surge, not southward, probably eastward over the next several days or so. So here's our radar I was mentioning earlier. We have that area of low pressure here across Nebraska over to Iowa. That's bringing that snow here across the occluded front, and then the warm front has also some snow showers too across the Great Lakes, and that cold front dragging down towards Arkansas, but with that rain, but we're not going to see very much in the way of relief here. And then even some snowfall back towards the front range of the Rockies here near Denver, down towards about New Mexico. However, as we go throughout the future radar, we'll see though that precipitation continue on over the next day or so, bringing that snowfall over across the northern plains. So we have to watch out if you are traveling out there on the roadways. But Elizabeth, how is the southeast looking like compared to the winter weather?
Fortunately, we are not having that issue here in the southeast, but we have seen some severe weather around the area. But for our live looks, here is our camera in Gainesville again, absolutely stunning. It is beautiful down there. In Georgia, we're starting to see those clouds move in, but again, beautiful, and it's pretty much the case as well for Blacksburg, and it is a little bit cooler, 65 there, but as we see that system move through, that's why we're seeing those clouds in Kentucky. Now, so just like we're experiencing here in the state of Florida, it is pretty warm throughout the entirety of the southeast. So we're sitting at 82 in Jacksonville, 79 in Montgomery, 77 in Nashville, which is quite warm for that area. It's 75 in New Orleans. So if you're there for the Mardi Gras celebrations, it is going to be quite warm. It is 79 in Jackson, Mississippi, and it's pretty wet throughout the entirety of the southeast region as well. We're sitting at 55 in Nashville, 57 in Charlotte, 59 in Montgomery, as well as 69 down by the coast. And here are those above average temperatures for the majority of the southeast. So we're seeing these purples here in the western portion of the region as well, which is very, very hot for this time of year. And so here is that system that Aaron was talking about before. It is stretching down throughout our area. And we're seeing some lighter thunderstorms down by us, but it's nothing to be concerned about. And then by Thursday morning, we'll see that rain start to move through, and we'll see some spotty showers throughout the rest of the day on Thursday, but nothing to be super concerned about until on Friday, and we're going to see some of those stronger thunderstorms move through. For our rainfall forecast, the main threat for rain is going to be in the central part of Tennessee, and we'll see about a half an inch to an inch and a half in those areas. And then for the rest of the night, we're going to see pretty warm temperatures as well. It's going to be 70 in Montgomery, 69 in Jackson, and 65 in Shreveport. As far as tomorrow, we're seeing 90 in Orlando. It's going to be very, very hot tomorrow. So I heard that there was a anniversary of something, right?
Yes, there is an anniversary or something, and that's like a little bit important here because we have the tornado anniversary here in Florida, where we had, unfortunately, an outbreak back in 1998 on what is today, February 28th, 22nd, here across much of Central Florida, specifically around the Orlando area. So scary times.
Yeah, I would be terrified to be caught in a tornado, to be honest. Probably one of my worst nightmares. But yes, it was known as the Night of Tornadoes, one of the deadliest outbreaks in Florida history. It had 15 confirmed tornadoes, including 3 F3 tornadoes, very big tornado, caused 42 fatalities and $107 million in damages.
That's right, and of course, when you think about today's money too, that's probably inflated pretty higher than that too. And unfortunately, 42 people have lost their lives now. That's the other reason why we always talk about whenever we have severe weather, especially at nighttime, to always have that phone alert or on your phone there, or have that NOAA weather radio that will wake you up in the middle of the night in case there is a tornado warning issued for your particular area. However, the strongest, I should mention here with our reflectivity here, we do see the tornado tracks that cross Orange County to Seminole County in Osceola County there across central Florida, where we saw that the biggest tornadoes specifically there. And you can see on our radar there, we have the hook feature. That's where we see the winds that are coming close together there and spinning and rotating, as also mentioned or by the velocity on the very bottom picture there on the left-hand side. That's where we have that rotating column of air, which we call a tornado. But again, that's why we always hone in on make sure you get that preparedness, make sure you know where to go in case of these things unfortunately strike, as it did here back in 1998.
Yeah, you should always be prepared. As you may know, tornadoes and other types of weather phenomena can be very unpredictable, so you should always be prepared. Always make sure that you have those weather alerts on. As you can see in that last picture, some of the tornadoes span very many miles, so you always have to be on the lookout because they can last for up to like a very long time.
That's right. They can last hundreds of miles potentially if they're very large ones. Those are pretty rare, but in this case, they did last tens of miles in this case, and you can see the damage here caused by an EF3 damage in Kissimmee, which is just south of Orlando if you're not sure where that's exactly at. And you can see, unfortunately, many houses were almost completely destroyed there with trees just uprooted. Very terrible. And then here, more damage across Kissimmee there. You can see the roofs of the house just completely blown off. And that's the other reason why we tell folks, make sure you go to the lowest level of your house as much as you can, because if this happens, unfortunately, this might risk your life here if you're on the top floor. So never go in the attic, just not the best place to go in the event of a tornado.
Yes, always make sure that you have a plan. Personally, if I were to experience a tornado, I'd be hiding in my bathtub with a mattress on top of me to make sure I got the maximum safeness.
Always the best place to do. In case you have nothing else to go, always go in your bathtub with the mattress on. But Elizabeth's going to talk a bit more about our national forecast. So Elizabeth, how is that winter weather looking more across the Northeast? Or sorry, I meant the northern U.S.
So there is a lot going on as far as the national span goes, especially with our temperatures. We're sitting at -6 in Bismarck and 88 in San Antonio. I cannot do that math in my head, but I know that's a very large temperature difference, as well as -4 in Billington, sitting in the 20s and 30s for the majority of the northern central U.S. And then for our dew points as well, we see this sharp dew point gradient here, and we're sitting very dry to our west, but in the southeast, of course, it is going to be pretty wet outside. So here is this green area right here, which is indicating more wet conditions. And so taking a look out at our temperature anomalies, excuse me, we're sitting pretty much above average for the majority of the country, despite up here in the northern Rocky Mountain region, and it's going to be, it was like this all day, and we're pretty much going to see that for a tad bit now. So here is this low pressure system that Aaron was talking about before, which is bringing some severe weather to the Ohio River Valley and snow for pretty much the majority of the northern part of the country, which is pretty crazy to me. And then we have this other low pressure system in the western part of the country that is bringing lots of snow to those higher elevated areas, especially in Denver and northern into the mountains. And so as we're looking at the water vapor, here is that system here that is to our north and the system to our west. So that is going to be bringing a lot of snowfall and rain to those areas. And so for our day one storm prediction center outlook, we have a slight risk for severe weather for parts of Missouri and Illinois. And so here is that right here. So we have these strong storms that are moving through the area, and it looks like they were able to cancel that tornado watch there. So that is good for them. And then we have this snow up there. And then as we zoom in, we can start to see those lightning bolts and that heavy rain right there. And for the central part of the country, we are sitting actually pretty dry for most of Kansas and most of Nebraska as well. That threat is going to stay north and east of you. And for our northeast radar, the majority of the state of Florida, the state of New York is going to be covered in snow, as well as most of the northeast region, as we see that system move through. And for our Gulf Coast radar, one more time, we see this system to our north of us, but there is nothing that is going to concern our southeast area. For our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, we are going to see the same story as we've seen today. We're seeing above average temperatures for the southeast and below average temperatures to our north and west. And for the precipitation outlook, lots of rain for the majority of the country, and there is that rainfall forecast. And then we will look at our temperatures for tonight, which is going to be pretty cold to our north, as well as the same story for tomorrow. And so, Aaron, what are we talking about next?
We were talking about lifestyle here, but look at that, 18 degrees for the high temperature in Denver. Actually, I was there about a month ago and wasn't even that cold. And it's cold here in mid to late February across the rest of, at least for tomorrow here. So as for our local area, switching gears back to our local area, we do have those clouds in place, perhaps upper level cirrus clouds in place from all our cameras here. So the FSU Sportsplex here on the main campus, St. George Island, Lake Bradford, and also for our friends there at FSU Panama City there, also perhaps seeing a few clouds there on the lenses. But you got to marvel at that sunset there over Doak Campbell Stadium, which just happened. I'll step off screen here so you can marvel at that background there, where we have that cotton candy skies there. It is currently 72 degrees. Great night right now if you want to perhaps go out for a bike ride or that walk after you ate that stir fry earlier for dinner. So mostly cloudy here over, especially looks like towards the coast there with that south-southeast wind at about 11 miles per hour. We don't expect any airport delays as a result from TLH, as we do have not much in the way of any weather here across the Big Bend. Currently 72 degrees. As for our national airports there, our coldest airport is Denver International, where it's 3 degrees there. So you could perhaps see some delays, as we do have some snowfall that is currently occurring there across the Front Ranges. And as for our our catwalk forecast tonight here, we have those temperatures that are eventually will rise throughout the day tomorrow, pretty similar as it was today here, coming from the upper 60s to about the middle 70s. We get to near the lunchtime hour there around 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. So great day to perhaps to walk your cat. Tonight will not really great in terms of those viewing forecasts here. If you want to take that telescope out to perhaps look at the moon. Unfortunately, we're going to have some of the cloud cover that's going to make its way into our area as we get into about the later portions of tonight into tomorrow. So if you're watching softball here with Florida State, it's going to be on February 22nd. I believe it's actually tonight here at 6 p.m. When they're mostly cloudy skies, 75 degrees. So make sure you cheer on those Noles here against UNF. And as for women's basketball against Wake Forest here, we are under partly cloudy skies tomorrow here. Looks like that's out in North Carolina there, where we are versing Wake Forest tomorrow at 73 degrees under partly cloudy skies. And for FSU basketball at Miami here, in Miami, we should expect those sunny conditions as we get into your Friday there, or Saturday, I should say, at least with that game there at the Watsco Center at 4 p.m. And as for your weekend forecast, again, all days are great to perhaps get some stir fry this week. So, Nikki, what are your plans tonight? Does it involve stir fry?
You know what, Aaron? All that talk about stir fry is making me want stir fry as well. But besides the stir fry, we are going to be talking about that beautiful sunset over Doak Campbell Stadium. Beautiful. As we can see, the clouds are kind of really accentuating the colors, but it's just a gorgeous night. As I've been saying, 72 degrees, a lot of clouds out. Also beautiful, clear, not any rain as far as we can see on this map. Maybe a few dots a little bit towards our west, but nothing too crazy. So you can stay in, make that stir fry. It is 72 degrees here, and as we go farther north, 77 in Donaldsonville and around the coast, we're seeing a little bit cooler temperatures, 72 in Apalachicola, which also 75 degrees in Perry. For our temperature almanac, we're nearing the record today, 3 degrees off, but our low is nowhere near the average or the record. We're a little bit above average today, and by a little, I mean kind of a lot. It is also wet here, very typical Florida, 66 dew point here. And as we go farther north, a little bit lower, 60 in Donaldsonville, and towards the coast, 71 dew point in Apalachicola. For our future radar, we're getting some winds coming up from the south, but as we can see, there might be a little bit of rain. I saw some in the St. Mark's area, maybe a little farther south, but nothing too crazy for us in Tallahassee. Tonight it's going to be 66 degrees and a slight wind. Perfect. Make sure that you go out, enjoy your nights. And for tonight's forecast, we're seeing a lot of 67s in our area, 65 in St. Mark's, 68 in Apalachicola towards the coast, and 68 in Bainbridge, a little bit north up. Tomorrow it's going to be 82 degrees, very warm day for us on campus, so make sure that you take note of that as you're walking to class. You might get a little bit sweaty, you might want to leave a little bit earlier, have some time to cool off before class starts. I know I hate going to class when I'm sweaty, but there's a little bit of a wind as well, so maybe you can just stand for a few outside and let that wind dry you off. Tomorrow we're seeing 72 degrees on the coast at St. Mark's and 82 here, 84 as you get a little bit further north in Bainbridge, but nothing too crazy. For the week ahead, as you can see, pretty much we're going to be highs in the 80s all week long with lows in the 60s. Not too much rain, but it's probably going to be a little bit cloudy. As we've seen, we've had some pretty breezy days, so we're going to keep up those good conditions. We are going to pass things off now to Elizabeth to end our show.
Thank you so much, Nikki. So yeah, so the main story that we're seeing right now is it's very, very hot. I am personally not a big fan of this weather, maybe more so in the summer when it's more beach time. However, it is the end of February and I don't like that it's 80 plus outside. So actually this weekend, I think I might go to the beach. I don't know if some other people had that planned, maybe bring some stir fry, any sort of stir fry you might want, chicken stir fry, vegetable stir fry, beef stir fry, any stir fry would be great. And that's making me really hungry right now. And yeah, so if you are heading out this weekend, make sure that you do bring your sunscreen and you bring your water because it will definitely be hot. However, our neighbors to the north and for the majority of the country are experiencing below average temperatures right now, which I wouldn't like that either, but over the hot, I would definitely prefer it cooler. However, there are some dangerous conditions outside right now in those areas. So if you happen to be watching right now and you live in those areas, be sure to be safe. Make sure to also follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather and also like us on Facebook at FSU Weather as well. And if you're watching us live right now on YouTube, you're already here at FSU Weather, and we also have an Instagram as well, FSU Weather. And we also have a TikTok page now also at FSU Weather, so make sure to follow us on there for some fun behind the scenes content. And now I'm going to pass it off to Aaron one more time to take a look at our 7-day.
That's right, stir fry all around here. We have stir fry perhaps on Thursday or stir fry on Friday as you're watching FSU Weather here. And as Elizabeth mentioned, perhaps some stir fry on Saturday and Sunday with those temperatures up into the middle 80s. But overall, looking really nice as we end the week. Have a good night.